Hey traders, checking in on the cryptocurrency space. So some wild volatility with fake news that Litecoin is partnering with Walmart, and the tweet was then deleted. Price action insane in both directions, 35% up, 35% down in the span of about 45 minutes, and really just shaking up the cryptocurrency space. It's going to start a narrative talking about regulation, yada yada. Let's look at what the price action is telling us and these charts after this wild move. So here's Litecoin's reaction to the fake tweet about the partnership with Walmart. We shoot up 35% in less than 20 minutes. We start consolidating first, and then it comes out with the tweet being deleted, and then piece by piece we get the information that that was BS. Dropped 26%, almost just as fast. So, I mean, nice reality here with the price showing us, well, nothing's changed. So going right back to where we came from. In the end, you're going to hear a lot of people talking about the need for regulation and the fact that everything moved so significantly, because this wasn't just Litecoin. Bitcoin went up 6%. The entire space reacted very significantly to this in both directions. And that's an insane amount of market cap and volume and volatility in response to one tweet. And it has a lot to do with all these automated trading systems. And, you know, it's really something that you could point to all markets in general. I mean, it's a new thing. We don't have social media a decade ago to be looking at as far as how it impacts markets. But this would obviously be what some people point to as a negative impact in the market. Fortunately, there weren't many instances to get trapped here unless you were short. Obviously, that could have led to be getting trapped. But once the consolidation started, it very quickly after that started to become clear that this was not looking legitimate. So hopefully bulls didn't get too crushed trying to chase this move. And we certainly know, you know, after the first 10 minutes here and the price is up 20%, we're not chasing. At a minimum, we're looking for entries on consolidation, if anything. And again, we always have to have a stop level nearby and in play. So unfortunately, some people probably bought bullish above 230 and are now wondering what to do with their lives. But hopefully that's not you. So where do we stand from here on Litecoin? Honestly, this doesn't change anything for me. We had clear resistance at 232.64 and we broke it, but only by 2 minutes. So that in itself was a little bit of a red flag, having us say, okay, you know, we got over resistance, but we didn't break it. So let's be a little cautious here. And I mean, we did break it, but to break it by a couple minutes straight into starting consolidation has us cautious because, you know, if I'm looking at this move and saying, well, where a bear is going to short, they're going to short at the 232 level because that's the only thing nearby to be going off of. Also, if you watched the weekend video, the stair-step trading strategy that I put out on our YouTube channel, this was a beautiful example. That trading style would have triggered a short at 225, and obviously that would have played out very well. So make sure and check out that YouTube video if you have not looked at it yet on our channel, stair-step trading strategy. So honestly, I'm back to not really caring about Litecoin in the short term here because nothing's changed. And relatively, it's a little bit weaker than Bitcoin is. The LTC BTC chart had its big pump and gave it all back as well. So really just need things to settle down and looking for Litecoin to have a little bit of a hangover because of what just happened. As far as Bitcoin is concerned, so we were watching for the most likely scenario over the weekend to be sideways and equilibriums because we know after significant volatility, equilibriums become the most likely scenario. So we knew that once the top of the bounce was set, that may be the top of the bounce for a while we trade sideways. We set a higher low over the weekend. We set a lower high this morning. And then with the volatility in reaction to this fake news, we broke resistance and then dropped down and broke support. And here we are back within our range. The bears have the upper hand. Why do they have the upper hand? Because we're closer to key support of 42.8 than we are to key resistance of 47.4. Those are the levels that I care the most about because they're the extremes of the range that we have been within over the last week since we had the dump 6 days ago. The 12-hour EMA resistance is rejecting the price. That's another reason the bears have short-term confidence and control. The daily time frame is seeing a bear cross of the EMA 12 and 26 for the first time since this whole bull move took place. So we're watching 42.8 very closely, and we're watching the weekly consolidation. And if 42.8 breaks, we will then be approaching 50% plus retracement, which then means we may form a weekly equilibrium to tighten up within for another couple of weeks into October. So watching this short-term low as a key level, and we have clear lower highs. Now we've got 46.9, 47.4 as the most important levels in the short term. So very simple statement. If 47.4 is resistance on Bitcoin, the bears are keeping confident in the short term. And we won't be confident that a weekly higher low is being established if that level is resistance. Dominance chart, trying to get a bounce going. And remember that the relationship between these dominance charts and these alt BTC pairings is that when Bitcoin and crypto is pulling back, the dominance chart tries to see a bounce because the altcoins drop faster than Bitcoin, generally speaking. So it's a bit of a falling wedge forming here, just with the bear break starting to lack follow through. If we break 43.15, that will be very notable to me as far as a bigger picture shift going on. But for now, it's just a good bit of sideways. And we did get a bull break in the short term here, as we did see altcoins dropping faster than Bitcoin over this period here. And that was our 12-hour lower high being set on Bitcoin. So keeping an eye on this pattern, but essentially it's not giving us a whole lot of information that the Bitcoin chart isn't already giving us. The bears have short-term control, and when the bears have short-term control, generally speaking, altcoins as a whole are dropping faster. Obviously, you've got these individual coins that are still able to perform and able to stay up near their highs, but just speaking in generalization about the sector as a whole. ETH/USD, so 12-hour equilibrium, we broke bear on the reaction to the fake news, but not really a significant break. Lower high was set at 34.73, and the bear break, again, we'll pretty much consider that a double bottom at this point. 31.42 still matters to me, but again, we're much closer to support than we are to resistance of 34.73. We have the 12-hour EMA 12 resistance, and the bears have confidence as long as that resistance remains. Weekly consolidations underway, and it's all about the low of the reaction, 3,000. If we see bear breaks under the lows of our reaction, at that point in time, we're going to be keeping an eye out for daily oversold conditions, because Bitcoin's RSI will be in the 30s at that point on the daily time frame, and that will be the next time frame that I'm looking to play a bounce. You could go 12-hour and watch for 12-hour oversold conditions. That would occur first. If you want to be a little bit more aggressive on a bounce, you're going to look for a 12-hour oversold bounce play on Bitcoin, but it's all about 42.8. Can't stress that enough. That is our short-term guide for this week. Stocks are a little bit weak as well. Let's just look at that real quick. SPY is unable to get any kind of bounce going. So last week we pulled back all week, and today we had a higher open with bears in control, and we're watching the weekly pattern here on SPY because the weekly EMA 12 has been support for over 6 months. So we're watching to see, is this just a normal dip that the bulls are going to buy like they have a half dozen times in the last 6 months, or is this time different? And this weekly EMA 12 is going to help us answer that question, whether or not this time is different. For now, this time is not different just yet. But again, we're keeping a close eye on it because the bears have had complete control of the last 5 days or so. And that is important to us as well, because if this pullback keeps going, again, it just increases probabilities that Bitcoin will break 42.8 thousand. ETH/BTC, 12-hour equilibrium remains intact. So again, nice little guide here. Can't get any more picture perfect as far as an equilibrium is concerned. And higher low trying to form compared to 07. And then anything under 0752 would just be a lower high. So bears want to break. But at this point in time, the bulls still have, a confident, technically we're still in a daily uptrend unless it breaks bear. Our higher low is set. Another higher low. We're keeping higher lows going unless we break bear. But a nice clear pattern to be keeping an eye on. Sol USDT, worth keeping an eye on as well. A lot of volatility here. And this is just an example of how we use Big Daddy Bitcoin for correlations. So we knew Bitcoin's most likely scenario was a 12-hour lower high. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. It just means that's the direction we're looking. So as we're bouncing and climbing towards that resistance level of 47.4 thousand, we're knowing, okay, well, if I want to be looking bearish, I can either play Bitcoin bearish or I can look around at where the altcoins are showing weakness. Which altcoins are weaker than Bitcoin and not positioned well if a 12-hour lower high is set. SOL BTC at that point, direct correlation with the US dollar pairing. So there were no clues with the BTC pairing showing us that it was weaker than the US dollar pairing. But we could say, well, if they stay correlated to each other, and if Bitcoin sets a 12-hour lower high, then SOL is going to drop more significantly. So shout out to some of our members. So here's a thread here. I'm over on the right. And yesterday, Ben Bitt was talking about SOL 30-minute decreasing volume, pennant, volatility incoming. So just getting tight and looking for the break. Surf Dad was on it saying the 4-hour looks like it could fall off a cliff. Trend looking for the same thing. And then I chime in, bears positioned well if Bitcoin forms a 12-hour lower high. So that's at 2:42 p.m. yesterday. And our 12-hour lower high was set at, it's going to take me a while to find this. We were right around here. And we did get one more bull move up here. And this was reaction to, Tesla's or Elon Musk's dog tweet, whatever that was. But no follow through there. This surprised me. I was very surprised to get that bull break. And then again, the market dropping back down and saying, okay, well, it makes sense. Because again, we were looking for the 12-hour lower high. I would have been very shocked if we just V-shaped from there. And I was pretty shocked that we even got up back towards that resistance. But short-lived. We're seeing these Twitter reactions are fairly short-lived recently. But the bottom line is SOL USDT was positioned well for bears if Bitcoin set the 12-hour lower high, which it did. And that then resulted in a very sizable drop of 15% or so. Now we're scouting a daily high or low on SOL, anything above 128.01. Obviously keeping a close eye on Bitcoin and whether or not 42.8 thousand holds or not. But because of the size of this pullback and because we've run 1,000% plus with no weekly consolidation, we are expecting a daily lower high will be the result of the next daily bounce. Because from where we stand, we would have to go another 40% to a higher high. So we're keeping an eye out for a short-term bounce. We did just have 4-hour oversold conditions. We got real close to it, didn't quite get there. But at this point, we're not looking for bear entries because the risk to reward is not ideal. We're looking for bull entries to find a daily high or low compared to 128.01, and then patiently waiting for bear entries to scout daily lower highs. And we know we'll have to see a confirmed daily downtrend if we're going to see weekly consolidation then underway. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a weekly inside bar form this week. We've still got a long ways to go, 6 days, but that's just how my brain works when I'm looking at different scenarios. Let's say I don't want to play bullish. Let's say I'm not confident in the Bitcoin bulls to shift momentum and see upside. Then I can just look at this chart and say, okay, I don't have interest playing bullish and I don't like the risk to reward of a bearish entry here. So I just set a trade game plan. If a daily bounce starts to get going, I'm going to scout a daily lower high for a short entry. And if that doesn't happen, then you just don't take the trade and you go on to the next one. But I can write down on a piece of paper next to my computer, keep an eye out for X, Y, and Z setup for the potential next trade that I'm going to be looking for. All right, so bears have short-term control. The burden of proof is on the bulls. On the current bounce, we're just looking for an hourly lower high to be the result of this bounce. If the bulls can confirm an hourly trend change in their favor, we zoom out and we scout a 4-hour lower high compared to the high of that reaction. And the bulls will have to change the 4-hour trend back in their favor if we're going to be confident that 42.8 thousand can hold a good bit longer. Aggressive bulls are looking to play off of supports, clear supports to play off of. And personally, I'm not liking aggressive bullish entries. I did stop out of my re-entry on Bitcoin swing position. So I'm back to a half Bitcoin position. And at this point, just remaining very, very patient because I'm in no rush to do anything in the cryptocurrency space. The next bounce that I'm interested in will be 12-hour oversold conditions. And again, I want my time frames lined up. If we're in 12-hour oversold, I want 4-hour, hourly, 15-minute. I want all of that oversold as well. So I know that a short-term bounce is more likely than not to allow me to position by taking some partial profits, placing a stop loss under the current low at that point in time. So I need a lot of RSI levels to align in oversold conditions if I'm going to be interested in 12-hour oversold as a bounce. Stay cautious out there. It's getting wild. Have those game plans established. And let's see if Sol gives us first a daily higher low and then a daily lower high. Again, very wide range. And all I'm caring about here is that low, that high, and scouting another higher low. And then we'll just be viewing this as an equilibrium as the more likely scenario if we get that daily higher low first. Feel free to ask any questions. I appreciate you watching, and we will check back in as things develop. Do good things. One more thing. Chart Guys members, Chart Guys member JFig. If you're interested in the stocks, the crypto stocks, I cover them sometimes just checking in, but he did a more in-depth 20-minute video looking at the Bitcoin mining stocks, Riot, MARA, BITF, Hive. So his channel is Kinetic Finance, and I will link this in the comments of this video for you to check out. All right, see you next time. So I sometimes prop the door open for Sweetie Pants to go outside, and a couple months ago, literally over 2 months, I recognized this spider was here making his web in the corner. And I thought, well, I can't close the glass door because then he's not going to be able to get any bugs. So this glass door has been propped open for literally months. So that spider can get some bugs. Seems to be doing all right. We'll see how long he lasts. So we got the last flowers of the year coming as everything else is dying off and has long gone to seed. But these purple ones are just starting. I don't know the names of any flowers, but these yellow ones will be next. And these hanging purple ones. I like these ones a lot. And the salvia did really well this year. I've never done that before. I'll do that again next year. They last really long. These flowers have been going for 3+ months. Milkweed is going to seed. This is what monarchs eat, and their caterpillars eat it. And then they put their cocoons nearby. Haven't seen any caterpillars yet, but the seeds do their thing in the wind. And the bugs that were on them didn't really do a whole lot of damage, but they have moved around, and they did eat this corn, which I don't care about. But they've got a whole bug army. I guess you can't see it well.